Hi guys, thanks for joining me. I'm Coach Hurley, Wes Hurley from La Cueva High School in Albuquerque. Real quick, um, at La Cueva we have something we call the 55, which is alignment, assignment, effort, execution, and finish. That's something we teach our kids kind of from the beginning. It's a mantra of ours. But today specifically, I'm going to talk about pressure and how we bring pressure in our aggressiveness, and how that's kind of led to some pretty good success for us. So I've been coaching defense for 8 years, mainly linebackers, and for the past 4 years, I've been the defensive coordinator at La Cueva. Um, it's an honor. It's a good school to teach at. We have athletes. We don't have a lot of size. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, so over the past 4 years, we've gone 38-11. In 2018, we were the undefeated 6A state champions. We went 13-0. Um, in 2017, we were the runner-up. In the state title game, we gave up 14 points to a very very good squad. So that was a tough loss. We lost that game 14-7. Um, and then over the past 4 years, our defense has allowed 16.3 points per game. That average is actually a little bit lower, because that also includes some points the offense gave up. You guys know how that goes. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out. Email me at hurley@aps.edu. It'd be great to hear from you guys, or if you have questions about our pressure system and how we play call it and things like that. So let's get into it. So our defensive scheme is we run most of our base alignment is out of a 4-2-5, with variations. What I mean by with variations is um, sometimes we look more like a 4-4 when we drop our strong safeties down and they're playing more like outside backers. Sometimes they look more like true strong safeties. We really stay single high most of the time. We don't get into high a whole lot. We've kind of gone all in on our coverage as far as like having an identity of this is what it's going to look like. So our base coverages are covered three and man free. What you're going to see out of both of those is a lot of rerouting, collision, really kind of um, just, I don't want to say in your face, but in your face, daring you to beat us kind of mentality. Not necessarily that our guys are better than yours, but um, we're going to make you, we're not going to give you wide open throws and guys running free. You're going to have to earn that a little bit against us. Um, so to back that up on the front end, and what I'm going to talk about a lot today is we are a heavy pressure blitzing team. Um, and I'll talk about this a little bit later as far as our personnel, but we blitz more than 50% of the time. Now, some of those pressures are, most of those pressures, I will say, are just 5-man pressures. We do have some 6-man and even some 7-man pressures, but those are not. I don't call those nearly as common as I do with the 5-man. We bring more than 50% of the time. And then something we always preach to our kids and our identity as a defense is when we arrive, we will arrive violently. Um, that's with everything. We kind of talk about that with the kids in everyday life. What does that mean? You know, we talk to them about it like in the classroom, right? When you arrive, show up. Show up and do it right. When you arrive violently, arrive with purpose, arrive with the mentality of I'm going to get this done, whether it's, in the classroom, with your family, uh, homework, fundraising, whatever it may be, you know. And so on the football field, obviously, when we're talking about that, it's, when you get to where you need to be, it's with a purpose. It's violent. You have arrived. So get there and have a purpose when you do. Okay, so the philosophy with the blitzing, with bringing this kind of pressure and this aggression, is you obviously don't want to know, you don't want the offense to be able to tell where you're coming from, right? So we wanted something where we had a complicated look. Um, but we wanted to make it really simple for kids. The other thing I wanted to do when we were working and coming up with how we call this is be able to bring pressure last minute, with the tempo of offenses and things like that, to be able to bring pressure last minute from anywhere. If I felt like we had a good idea of where the line was going to slide, or what the play call was, or things like that, things that we could take away. I wanted to be able to communicate that to the kids quickly, effectively, and to get them in the right spots. So in order to do that, we came up with a system of rules and tags. Okay. This rule system, this tag system, has very, very limited memorization. In fact, we only have 3 pressures that our kids memorize, and those are the 6 and the 7-man pressures. We do not have a 5-man pressure that our kids memorize. Um, our rules for the D line, they have 2 rules, and then the tags behind them, they have the linebackers in the secondary, they have 2 rules to remember as well. It's it's really simple for the kids, but as you can see, from the other side of the ball, it looks like we can be coming from different positions and different areas and things like that. So very limited memorization, so the kids know where they need to be. They're not thinking. It's quick, it's fast. They can play fast. We encourage playing fast. Overthinking um, really can slow you down. And so we don't want our kids to be thinking. Like, we want, when you hear this, you do this. When you get this, this is what you do. And so it's really quick and efficient. Um, so that increased flexibility allows us as coaches to attack schemes or even personnel, right? If we have some linemen or a back or a blocking scheme or something like that that we want to attack, um, we can do that in the game planning, leading up to a game, but we can also do it in game really quickly because our system allows us to call pressures from certain people into certain areas at the drop of a hat. So it really has helped us. Um, and this to give you an idea of kind of our defense. We're usually undersized. We don't have a lot of 250-pound kids, like um, but having said that, we are fast. We usually have pretty good athletes. We have tough kids, and they're fast. A lot of them have a chip on their shoulder because they are undersized. And so, in order to maximize what we can do and limit what other teams can do against us, we spend a lot of time with movement and like I said, with aggression to put players in positions to make the right plays. That kind of speed is something that we really have to take advantage of. And so the pressures and the tags that you'll see are designed with that in mind. So for this, right, for this presentation, I changed our tag system just to make it simple for you guys. When we use tags, we have short names. Sometimes some of them the kids have come up with. We also have numbers and letters and stuff like. But for this, we're going to go ahead and use the guys in the box are just 1 through 6, as you can see on the screen. The thing with this is those guys are just in the box. You can change with strength if you want to. We've done it both ways. We've flipped to strength and then we've kept things going from left to right. So as you can see, our tags in the box would be 1 through 6, 1 through 4 being the D line, 5 and 6 being the inside backers. Okay, we'll talk more about what that means in a second. And then the secondary is just A, B, C, D, and E. A and E are corners, B and D are strong safeties, and C is our free safety. Um, Again, you can flip those with strength or to field or things like that, if whatever works best for you. Typically, right now, we don't flip, but we can if we feel like it would be beneficial as far as confusing the offense. So the D line, this is their rule. Okay, so for the D lines 1 through 4, Now we do call fronts, so our D line does have to remember fronts. Most of the time, we are in a 2-eye or a 1 technique, and a 3 on the other side with our D tackles, and our defensive ends are usually 5s. We're just going to go over that base front for this purpose. There are other fronts where we're in 2-eyes, we're both in 3s. We go under and line the defensive end up as a 4-eye, things like that. So essentially, their rule is if they are tagged. Okay, so if I call 1 through 4, they are switching gaps on their side of the center. Okay, so for example, a 1 call would look that defensive end, who's usually a 5, is gonna get into that B gap. Okay, now our backers understand that. So when we are in that, the one thing that can't happen is that D tackle can't be a 3, right? Because then you have 2 guys in the B gap. So we will shift the D tackles away from that stunt action from the defensive end. So if they are tagged, so if 1 is tagged, he knows he's going inside. If you look at 2 in this front, right? If 2 is tagged, he's lined up in the A gap. He knows that he's got to get to the B gap now. Okay. And the backers know this because they just essentially switch gaps is all they do. Okay, so we have that gap exchange, and this happens post snap, right? So he's crossing face, hoping to take that guard with him. Okay. 3, number 3, which is lined up as a 3 technique in what you're looking at. Same rule, right? He's lined up in the B gap as a 3 technique. He hears his tag and he knows he's going inside. Okay, and so he's got to get to that A gap. He's got to cross face now, and we the technique with this is we tell our kids, look, you have to get there, right? So even if you have to cut that down and almost be like a 2, almost be head up, and that way you can make sure you just slant into that A gap. You just have to make sure you get into that gap because our backer is looking pretty heavy in that B gap, depending on his reads. And then 4 is going to be the opposite as 1. You can see here the difference between 1 and 4. The back is on the right side. Usually we go 3 and 1 depending on the size that the back is on, or tight ends or strength calls, things like that. Well, when we get a 4 call, we know that D tackle has to be in the A gap. And so we'll go ahead and go and shift those D tackles to the left and go with a 3 and a 2-eye. That way the DN can get in that B gap. And then in that last picture, C or 6 would have the C gap, right? So he's essentially gap exchange with the defensive end at that point. Okay. So those are the defensive end tags or the defensive line tags. For defensive tackles, if you're in the A, you get tagged, you go to the B. If you're in the B, you go to the A. Defensive ends, if you're outside shade, you get tagged, you go in. If you're inside shade, you get tagged, you go out. All right, pretty easy for those guys because let's be honest, they're not exactly some of the smartest kids sometimes, but they're very tough. Okay, so for linebackers in secondary, when we tag them, and you notice I've drawn a dotted line through the middle of the center. That's kind of where we blitz from. Like I was saying, we have 3 blitzes that the kids have to memorize. One of them actually does involve them crossing that line because the rules don't allow us to do that. So if a player is tagged in the play call, they blitz through the first open gap on that side of the center. All right. And so on an inside linebacker blitz, and you guys can see these over here on the left, if I call 5 or 6, and that's all that's tagged, right? They just go through the first open gap, right? Just Mike, Will, Fire, or Dog, whatever, right? Right through that first gap. So I call 5, he's going through the A gap. If we were in a different front, right, where 2 was in the A gap, then he would go through the B gap, just like 6 is doing in that top picture, okay? And then all the secondary guys are the same. We don't blitz our free safety a lot, but we can. We would just have to determine, look, if I tag you, you're going to go in the first open gap to the field side or into the boundary or to the strength or some rule like that. That's usually game plan specific, but like we don't do that a lot at all. So you can see the strong safety blitzes B and D, right? B, his first open gap is that A gap, right? And he knows that due to alignment and the call. So he'll start cheating there to get there, okay? And then our corners A and E, same thing, right? If you're tagged, you go through the first open gap on that side, okay? And then behind that pressure, will roll coverage. So if we look at like for example, B on the bottom, the B blitz. So when B's going to that A gap, you would see, B's in the A gap, 2 is in the B gap, and 1 is outside. So 5 would shimmy out and cover that slot, or be in the flats, or run that coverage that B would typically be running. Okay, nothing big there, right? Just blitz and replace, blitz and replace. So with the 5 and the 6-man pressures, what this allows us to do is bring 5-man pressures from pretty much anywhere, right? So and really fast. So I can make calls like 46, right? 1B, BD, 25, 4E, 1B, 4D, right? Now, as a player, right, I'm just listening for my tag, right? So if I don't get tagged, I'm playing my normal technique, everything's fine, right? The linebackers handle the alignment, so I don't have to worry about what gap I'm going to be in. As the D-line, especially our seniors, our juniors and seniors who've been in it a few years, if they hear 4, if my D tackle hears 4 and he's on that right side, he knows he's going to have to shimmy into that A gap because that D tackle. But our linebackers help our kids with that too. So it's essential that players understand the rules of the D-line. All right, you got to understand what gaps the D-line has, so the blitzer ends up in an open gap and not in the same gap as a lineman. So let's look at some of these. So these are some of our standard 5-man pressures. I just drew some of them up. Obviously, with this tag system, you can draw up a lot. So on the top left there, that's what 46 would look like. Okay, so the tag 4 tells the defensive end to go inside. So we're going to be in a shift left with our defensive tackles, right? The defensive end comes inside, and the backer knows he's got C gap, so he's going outside anyway. Okay, so that's that's his standard 5-man pressure. Nothing exotic or anything, but we can make that call super quick. And like I said, the kids aren't memorizing anything other than simple rules. Bringing a strong safety, if we look at the top right, that call is 1B, right? So again, 1's telling that defensive end to get inside. We slide the line, bring that strong safety off the edge. 5 would shimmy out, and off we go. Here's a 6-man pressure, right? Where there's not a D-line call in there. So it's BD, right? So B here's his, D here's his. They're going through the first open gap on their side. And then on that one, I actually drew on a 6-man pressure, depending on the coverage, we'll either drop down into just a man look, like a cover 0 look, or play some sort of coverage game behind it. But regardless, when those guys go, we'll shimmy out to cover those receivers. Let's see, 25. These inside blitzes, and you'll see it, in with this tag system, 36, 25, 46, 15, those blitzes like that. We get a lot of use out of those. We get a lot of use out of those. Because it just becomes extremely hard for the O-line to block, because there's just a lot of movement going on in there to pick up. So 25 is probably one of our more popular blitzes, where because our D tackle knows when he's crossing face, he's got to take that guard with him. Our defensive end is punching that tackle anyway, and so then that backer's free a lot of the time to wreak some havoc in there. A corner blitz, right? Again, not a special name for us. We just call it 4E. And a lot of times when we bring corners, you'll notice on the previous slide, this corner blitz with E right here and A, we usually don't send those guys on the inside a whole lot. What we'll do is we'll tag it with the defensive end to send him inside, right? So 4E down at the bottom left. That 4 tags the defensive end to go inside, and E is right off the edge, like a typical corner blitz, and then 6 and deal or replace with coverage out there. Um, and then 1B, 4D, we get a lot of use out of this one too. It's just this might be my favorite 6-man pressure, and just we pinch everything inside, and then we bring the strong safeties off the edge. Nothing, again, too exotic or anything like that. It's just where I feel like we do a really good job of is getting that information conveyed to kids and making it simple for them to know where they need to be, instead of memorizing 6 different types of blitz calls to different sides. We just tag it and they just go. So we're gonna go through some clips here. This is actually a title game. This team we're playing against is a really really good team. They were undefeated this season. They're usually in the title game. Their offense does a hell of a job. I think they average 40 some odd points a game. They are always a force to be reckoned with in this title game, and true transparency. It was kind of a windy, nasty day. The quarterback's a sophomore, so we decided to put some pressure on him and try to speed him up a little bit in a big moment. We were able to hold them to 7 points defensively. And so quite a few clips from this game. This is the 2018 title game. And you'll see here, this is going to be off the edge. So based on the system that we're looking for this presentation, this would be 1B, right? And you can see our strong safety come right off the edge there. Now, obviously, he misses him. We would like for his aiming point to be better on that upfield shoulder and keep him in the pocket. But it's 3rd and 12, so we're able. This is a really good look at it here. So a motion, we're adjusting. He already knows that he's going. Everyone shifts. You'll see the defensive end go inside, and you can see him come over right there. I'm pretty sure that's me changing the call. I think I changed the call last minute on this one. And you can see how quick it happens. That defensive end goes inside, the tackle has to take him, and now we're right off the edge. The running back's looking for a gap pressure. We're off the edge again. We missed the kid. He's a hell of an athlete, but we're able to hold him and get off the field in that scenario. So it's an effective blitz, especially in the coming off the boundary like that. Okay, this is the same game. Let's see what we're doing here. So this is going to be, yeah. So this is the same blitz from the other side. Our defensive end here, it's a little better from the end zone. Our defensive end here doesn't do a very good job of getting inside at all. You see, he's just kind of I'm not sure if he didn't get the call or what happened, but we were. His goal there is to occupy that tackle, right? When he gets tagged and he hears a tag with him, in this case, this would be 4D, right? He should be inside. He's got to be in that B gap. Because as you can see, we really don't have anyone in that gap right now because he didn't cross face. But our backer's free again. We missed the kid, but we're able to speed him up and rally to the ball. So that's what that should look like. This is going to be a 6-man pressure. This would be the 1B, 4D that I drew up for you guys. And you can see we're there right now. Again, kid's a good athlete, gets out of there. It's 3rd and 9. We're trying to speed him up. Got a little lucky with that drop ball right there. Our safety didn't do a great job of getting down right here. Kind of gets there a little bit late. But you can see he probably throws that ball a little. If we get there, that should be a sack. But kid's a hell of an athlete. And our D line here, you can see does a that's how that should look, right? It does a great job of getting inside, and then we're bringing guys off the edge, and he escapes, gets that ball off, but that's one of our 6-man pressures, um, right there. So, and again, a lot with these pressures isn't just, passing situations. A lot of times we use it to help our kids stop the run. We're not the team that can line up and just two gap and control guys and be where we need to be and things. We have to move. We got to use our speed. We slant a lot. We move a lot. We blitz a lot. We're kind of almost aggressive to a fault in a lot of ways because and you can see, just watching some of these clips, our kids are fast. They're just not big, most of them, which is, you got to use what you have and let the kids take advantage of their strengths. And you can see here the defensive end at the top here does a great job of taking that tackle with him. Like, he is right in that B gap right now. That's a great job right there. And then our strong safety is able to run him down from the backside and make that play. Um, Defensive end does a good job of kind of taking away the pitch and turning him back inside right there. But you can see how that pressure works. Um, this is one of our interior pressures, one of those that I was talking about. We actually got to him. We actually tackled him that time. This is the goal. Getting there is one thing, making the play is another. And you can see, you're gonna see a good, um, you know, cross face right there. So in our system, the way I drew it up for you guys, so this would be 25. Right? So 2 is going to tell that defensive tackle, okay, you're in the B gap, get your butt to the A. That's a great job of crossing face right there. 5 is going to send the backer through the first open gap on his side. That happens to be the B gap, so he's through. Makes a great play right there. And again, this is another 3rd and 9 against a very good team, and we're able to get off the field and make a big play right there. Good team here. You can see our strong safety here. So this is the following year. He's not very big. Good kid, makes a lot of plays. Does what he's told. And you see with the down block right there, that guard is looking for the defensive end, right? Because he's been out there the whole game. Now our defensive end does a great job here. So in our system, this is what 4D would look like. And you can see our backer coming out here to cover these twins. He's a little late to get out here to this stack, but he gets there. And you can see our defensive end does a great job of crossing face. With the tag system and with all the movement and everything, we spend a lot of time in that in practice, guys. Our D-line spends a lot of time working on that technique of getting across phase, especially like as a defensive end on a down block. And you can probably see he's probably cheated in a little bit. If I pause it right here, the defensive end right here on the left side of the screen, you can see he's way tighter than he typically is, right? Because he knows he's got to get to that B gap. And so we tell our kids, look, you do whatever it takes. If that tackle's pretty quick, then tighten up your stance a little bit. If that tackle is slow and you can get there, stay wide so you don't tell them that you're coming and then get there. Okay. But obviously the key point is get there. Again, I don't think, well, he does make the play right there. But you can see here's another, it's 2nd and 5, right? And we're just bringing pressure from the field, as much to stop the run as it is to stop the pass game. Okay. This is going to be a corner blitz. So this would be 4E in the tag system that we're using today. So I would send in 4E. Okay. Our backers know, okay, since it's 4, our D tackles are going to be to the left. Okay. So the B gap is open. So the defensive end is going to cross face into, and he does see that's hard with the down block, but he gets there, occupies the time, and then our corner is right off the edge right now. Right, unblocked. The run is right into him. He's able to hit the puller, which then gives our guys time to rally and make a play there. Okay. And I think I might even have a one call here too. I think this is 1-4D is what this is, because our defensive end on the bottom goes inside too. Let's look at this from the end zone. So you can see he crashes down, able to make that play. So those guys play wide a lot of the time. When we crash them inside, things get ugly out there. And then when guys try to bounce the ball, but you can see that corner coming in. Defensive tackle does a good job of clogging everything up in there. So this next clip, you're going to see, I'm pretty sure this is a corner blitz. We're sending guys off the top, and we're pinching our defensive end. So an example of that call would be 14E, right? So 1 and 4 is telling the defensive ends that they need to pinch inside, and then E is telling that corner into the boundary that he's going through the first open gap. Because there's a defensive tackle in the A gap and a defensive end outside going into the B gap, he's off the edge, which, like I talked about earlier, that's most of the time where we bring the corners from. And so you can see here, the corner comes in, does a really good job of stuffing that puller, which gives us an extra guy to the party. And I think the defensive end that we pinched from the backside is able to crash in and make that play. So, and again, this isn't pass pressure, right? We're bringing, it's 3rd and 3. They've been running the ball pretty well on us, so we need to make a play to get off the field. We're bringing more guys to the party. Our corners really like coming to the party. They're usually pretty aggressive, smaller guys, so they like using their speed and that aggressiveness off the edge to make a play right there. So let's look at the end zone of this, and you're going to see 15 and 2 are going to pinch into those B gaps, kind of get everything to spill a little bit. Then our corner blows up that puller. So he cuts in, and that DN from the backside is able to make that play. So simple for us. It's easy for me to call. It's easy for us to get to where I want to be. And the kids can play fast and things like this. This is a big play, right? 4th and 5. Trying to get off the field. It's early. This is in the first quarter of this game, and so we're trying to make a play. They're kind of in 4th down territory with a punt's not going to get you very far, and they don't have a kicker that's going to kick it from there. So here we are in 4th down, and so we're going to bring a little pressure. You're going to see that inside blitz again, which based on the tag system we're using today, this would be 36, right? So if we look here, the end zone, this is a great look at it. 36, right? So the defensive tackle, that's the 3, which is the 3 technique. Also in this case, he's going to get into that A gap. He's going to cross face. The defensive end, 4, is going to make sure that he engages that tackle and keeps the outside free. And then 45, which is 6 in this case, he's going to shoot that gap. And I think you're going to, I think this opens up pretty nice. Yeah. So you can see that cross face action. And our defensive tackle, again, not big kids, but quick, right? He's across that face right now. The guard has to take him to prevent that A gap pressure. Our backer fills that B gap, and now all he's got to do here is make sure he makes that play and gets him on the ground, which he does a great job of. Our defensive end does a good job of staying at home, keeping that edge. That's a big play right there. Momentum changing, get off the field, set our offense up with good field position, and let them make plays. So you can see kind of the cluster it makes in the middle with both our D tackles and the A gaps like that, sitting the backside and the B. Well, I decided to bring it from this side because our defensive end on the backside, number 81 right there, is a pretty good player, and they've been chipping him, um, making sure that he couldn't get his pass rush. So I was pretty confident the back was going to go that side. So we brought pressure here where there wasn't an extra blocker. Make sure he gets that run free, that lane running free. That's a good job right there. Right here, you can kind of see we actually messed this up a little bit, but this would be, let's see, 46, I believe. We're sending the defensive end inside. Now, something, a little coaching point here. We do tell our outside blitzers anytime you're coming off the edge, you have to have the edge, right? The defensive end, anytime we call 1 or 4, our defensive end is going inside. So you have to make sure if you're coming off the edge that you have that edge. And 45 right here, we just watched him make that play earlier, does a bad job right here of trying to undercut this and make a play. He should attack the outside shoulder of that kid, and he goes underneath and maybe gets held a little bit, but not going to get that call. And is, gives up that edge. And so not great execution here, but you can see from the play call, we're sending guys off both edges here, putting a lot of pressure and aggression on these guys. We just don't execute it very well. And it ends up working out. We cause a fumble at the end of this. Again, when you arrive, we arrive violently. It's a pretty good job of that right here. But as far as the pressure goes, if he stays outside of that guy, sets that edge, you can see we've got guys coming to the party to make a better play on this, but it ends up working out. But not great execution right there. This game is actually the semifinal game against an undefeated team. You can see here we're bringing interior pressure again. This would be 36. Our defensive tackle goes in there. And again, our guys spend a lot of time coaching that cross face technique. Make sure that they can cross face right. So if we look at the end zone of this. Here, and this is another great example, right? He's in the A gap. We're going to send him to the B now and send the backer. And so those aren't two things the kids have to memorize. It's the same rule, right? I'm lined up in the A. I'm going to go to the B. The guard opens up. Now the back is able to pick him up, but he picks him up 4 yards deep, right? So now that quarterback has someone in his face. He's scrambling, trying to make a play on 3rd and 5. He steps up, tries to deliver the ball, and we're able to make a play on it. It's a big play in this game right here. Sets us up in really good field position, gets us off the field. So it's a big play. So you can see kind of how, again, this is a same team, 3rd and 2 down here in the end zone. We've given up some yardage. This team is actually a great inside zone team. So you can see here, we've lined the defensive tackles up as 3 techniques, kind of like an old split look, and then we're sending both inside backers in the A gaps. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm probably expecting inside zone right here. If I was to have to guess, I'm expecting, inside zone. We're gonna send those backers in the A gap to try to disrupt that zone play and make a play and get them into 4th down. And our defensive end, number 99 right here, he widens. Sometimes when we send both inside backers, we give the defensive ends help with back. I think he got a little confused with the motion. You can see 33 kind of adjusting the motion right there. He's the one who should be helping take that away, not 99. 99 should be holding the edge right here, but he doesn't engage the tackle, but the tackle's confused. He's got guys coming at him and stuff like that. And so we get a guy free, and then we get other inside backers running to help out and make a big play right there. So again, this would just be 56 for us, right? I'm gonna make a front call that puts us in double threes, and then 56 is gonna tell both backers in the A gap, kind of selling out an easy 6-man pressure right here. We're just sending a lot of guys to the party, try to make a play on 3rd and 2, and they end up throwing the ball. We get some pressure, big sack right there. it's a big play in that game. So, anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Good luck on your seasons. If you have any questions, again, here's my email address, Hurley at aps.edu. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have questions, comments, observations, anything at all. Love, we all love talking ball. But yeah, I hope you find something that you can use or adapt or get something out of this. So thank you guys for spending some time, and good luck.